Okay, today for a really quickie, Mercedes SLK R170 trunk lid had a rattle going over bumps. Knew it either spare tire or something in the rear end loose. But if you listen to this, I think you can hear that. That's the trunk deck lid rattling around. So there's two things that can be. Oh, there's a couple things it could be. One of them is your spare tire is loose. If you're hitting a bump and it's rattling, your spare tire should be in there firmly. Make sure none of your jack or anything is rattling around. But there are two things that you can check. You can check these little rubber pads here that come down and they rest on here when the trunk lid's resting. These get a little slot, as you can see in them over the years from sitting in the same spot. Loosen this with a 10 millimeter wrench. Turn it 90 degrees, lock it up, and that'll turn it so that it's not resting in that little groove. It's not turning it out so far that the trunk lid's going to have any pressure on it, but it's going to allow it to keep from rattling a little bit. So that, and number two, these little sliders here connect with these little sliders. So when it comes down, that top one goes in here and it keeps the trunk lid centered and straight. But over the years, they wear down a little bit. So there's two bolts on them. There's one, two screws. It's a 4 millimeter Allen bolt. Loosen that, and then this slides back and forth this way. So you want to slide it toward the outside of the car. Slide it like a millimeter. So do each side 1 millimeter. Check for rattle again. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to loosen those 1 millimeter, or loosen the two bolts on each side. Move them outwards 1 millimeter, tighten them up, and then check for rattle again. I'll be back in a second. Okay, an entire 2 minutes later. Only no more rattling. Now that's my license plate. I'm just changing bolts and that, but there's still a slight bit, tiniest little bit. So I'm going to adjust that some more. I'm also looking, you can also use a T25 Torx if you don't have a 4 millimeter Allen. And I simply loosen, the two bolts, and this thing slides back and forth, and you just have to find the proper spot for it. You can also adjust the gap on your trunk when it closes side to side. So if you've got bigger gap than the other side, you can move this, you can move those in or out to close up the gap to align the body. Tiny bit. I might try bringing these down the tiniest little bit. Again, this is just a 10 millimeter. Loosen. Turn it a couple more degrees, maybe 25. 30 degrees. Not even a full quarter turn. Just the tiniest bit, turn it out like you're loosening a bolt. Again, that rattle is my license plate. That's nearly gone. I don't know if that's a suspension noise or... Well, that's almost all gone. So just a little bit of fiddling with those four things back and forth. one on each side. Sorry for the light. I work when I can and it just happens to be almost dark out. And then this little adjuster. Again, the rubber pad goes down and sits on here when it goes down. And like I said, that can wear out over time. So 10mm bolt there to lock it. And then turn it out by turning to the left counterclockwise. And then tighten the nut. And then just try that back and forth. You don't want to make this too tight because that'll push the deck lid up. But you just want it nice and snug. You just don't want a rattling noise. I think it's mostly gone. I'll take it for a drive and see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope that helps somebody.